Yeah,
There we go.
There we are.
Okay, good evening, members of the public. Welcome, council and staff, to this November 15th Committee of Adjustment meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Moved by Councillor McDonnell, second by Councillor Lang. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Approval of the agenda as presented. Moved by Councillor McDonnell, second by Councillor Lang. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. I'm assuming you all had a chance to review the minutes. Can I get an approval of that from the November 1st meeting? Moved by Councillor Lang, second by Councillor McDonnell. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. Are there any declaration of pecuniary interests? Seeing none, we're moving on to item 5A 25-2021 or 21, pardon me. Dixon, Miss Haley.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Chair or Deputy Mayor. Kelly, if you can please allow me to share my screen, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, it's turned on that you should be able to share.
Perfect, got it. Excellent, thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome for the members of the public that are participating by Zoom or by phone. You will be permitted to speak to the respective application following my presentation. And prior to speaking, please state your name and address for the record. To make a comment, please use the raise hand function and the chair will call on you. Or if you've registered to participate in the meeting by phone, you will be asked if you would like to comment on the application after the applicable presentation. I'm now going to read required wording under the Ontario Planning Act. This is a hearing under section 44 of the Ontario Planning Act. Any person may attend this hearing and or make written or verbal representation either in support of or in opposition to the proposed minor variance. If a person or public body does not make oral or written submissions at this hearing before the minor variance is decided upon, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the minor variance of the Committee of Adjustment to the Ontario Land Tribunal, also known as OLT. If a person or public body does not make an oral submission at this hearing or make written submissions to the Committee of Adjustment before the minor variance is decided upon, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the OLT unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so. So, as you mentioned, we have one application this evening known as A2521. This property is located at Lot A, Concession 1, south of the Raisin River in the geographic township of Charlottenburg, now in the township of South Glengarry, addressed as 19823 Loyalist Road. This is an image of the location of the property. You can see this is Loyalist Road and framed by the Raisin River. The subject property is developed and contains a single detached dwelling and a rear yard deck. Administration was made aware of a construction of a deck without a permit. In viewing aerial photos from over the years, it is clear that changes have been made to the structure, and in order to bring the newly constructed deck into compliance, a minor variance is required. So I'm just going to show you a few images so you can see the transition. So we can see here that this is what the property looked like in 2008. This is an image in 2014. You can tell it's not completely easy to do a comparison because one image is more leaf on or more tree cover and the other image is less, but you can see that there was a deck development in this location. And then this is an image from 2019. So again, if you look in this location, and then this is a photo as of November 5th, 2021. And here's a couple more photos where you can see the side view and then the proximity to the Raisin River. And then you can see also there's a little bit of a lower slope in this location compared to other areas along the Raisin where the bank can be much higher. So the purpose of the application is an existing deck was recently reconstructed within the 30-meter watercourse setback, and the following relief from the zoning bylaws requested: to reduce the watercourse setback from 30 meters to 8.3 meters from the top of bank of the Raisin River to the newly constructed deck. This was an image that was provided to us from the property owner, the applicant. This is the outline of the house with the deck in this location. And you can see in here where the setback would be 8.3 meters from the riverbank. This is obviously hand drawn by the applicant. We do want to ensure the committee members that we do have a letter from Stidwell and Associates who attended the property to confirm that the setback reduction request is 8.3 meters. The property is designated agricultural resource and it does conform to the general intent of the official plan. It's zoned agricultural and it conforms to the general intent of the zoning bylaw. The application was circulated to applicable municipal staff. Because we weren't provided with a legal survey that showed the location of the previous structure, staff is unable to determine if the deck is in the identical location. However, we were able to determine that a structure was located in the general vicinity prior to this new deck being constructed. This puts us in a little bit more of a difficult position when we don't have the opportunity of consulting with the property owner in advance, letting them know the information that we need for a building permit to be able to secure them their grandfathered setbacks, because clearly there was development in this case. So when we're made aware of it after the fact, we do the best we can to do our homework, work with the property owner, and see what we can do to accommodate them in hopes that they're able to obtain a permit. The RCA was consulted and they had no objection to the repair of the existing deck. That's the wording that they used. I think our committee knows that they don't issue regulation permits along the Raisin River, so it's not subject to a permit of the RCA. We reach out to them more from a natural hazard perspective to see if they have any major concerns with the location, with the bank stability and things like that. In this case, they didn't. And we received one phone call from an adjacent property owner requesting information regarding the notice. They didn't file any objections with me. They were just looking for more information. And that's all I have to present to you this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions. We do have the applicant on the meeting this evening, and I'm sure that the Dixons would be able to answer any questions of the committee as well if you had any.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation, Ms. Haley. Are there any questions of the committee members? Councillor Jaworski.
Thank you, through Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Haley. I think this is a question to you, and I'm sorry if you said this and I missed it. But in terms of the deck and the floodplain, what is the? I'm assuming the deck is entirely out of the floodplain.
Yes, I'd have to, if you can give me a minute to absolutely confirm that. I just don't have that open at this time, but I can confirm that.
Okay. Well, if I may, Deputy Mayor Warden, I guess I would like to hear from the applicants, just if they could sort of give us some context as to how the deck came to be without the permit. Maybe they can speak to how the relationship of this new deck versus the old one.
Yep. There we go. You're on mute. Would you mind stating your name and address for just for the record? I believe you are the applicants, but for formality, and you can unmute yourself at any time. Bottom left of your screen.
How's that?
That's good.
Okay, Louise Latre and Ralph Dixon, 19823 Loyalist Road, Williamstown.
Thank you. So did you hear Councillor Jaworski's question, or would you like her to repeat it?
Repeat, please.
Councillor Jaworski?
Certainly. Well, thank you. I was hoping that you could speak a bit to how the deck came to be and its relationship to what the previous structure that was there before.
The deck was there for over 30 years and we were repairing an old deck.
And in terms of the shape and, I mean, the location of the new deck versus the old deck, it's fairly similar?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions? Ms. Haley, were you able to find out about the floodplain?
I was, and I apologize for not knowing that answer right off the top of my head. I just needed to verify before I answered incorrectly. So there is a portion of the development that's located in the floodplain. It still works with the provisions of the bylaw though, because you can increase structures up to 25% when it's already an existing developed property. And the RCA would have flagged that if that was an issue. One of the reasons why we didn't ask for an up-to-date topographical survey in this location is because the bylaw doesn't require us to when the property is already developed, as you're allowed to add additional development up to 25% of the original square footage of the original structure, being the whole house. But yes, a portion of it is located in the floodplain.
Thank you.
Can I answer that question?
Absolutely.
Okay, the house is in the 100-year floodplain. If you look on the south side of the house and on the north side to the river, because the riverbank is raised, the house is sitting on top. So I have, the house is in the 100-year flood zone.
Thank you for that.
Because it's on top of a hill. So I have 100 at the front and 100 at the back. And there is a topographical section cut on the proposal that I sent in that was done when I got my building permit for the house for the Raisin River Conservation Authority 30 some years ago.
Alrighty, Councillor McDonnell.
Through you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, if there's no other questions from the public and the committee, I'd move to approve as presented.
1 second. Yep, there is. Ms. Milner has her hand up. Go ahead and state your name and your address, please, for the record. Someone will, and you can unmute yourself now.
Okay. My name is Jacqueline Milner. I'm a resident in Summerstown Station, 19166 Hay Road. You know, we have a 30-meter setback from waterways, I would imagine for a good reason. So I do take exception to any building within the 30-meter setback of a waterway. Was someone saying something?
No, you're here. You're hearing something in the background. Continue.
Okay. You know, I'm here to speak specifically for the health of our waterways, the health of our wildlife, and you know, this all relates to human health. You know, 90% of aquatic life and 70% of terrestrial wildlife depends on that 30-meter setback throughout their lifetime. So what, you know, I would really like to see my township, my elected officials take a leadership role in you know, doing something to preserve these vital habitats. And I am going to ask you at this moment, as I know this evening in the council meeting, Watershed Canada is making a presentation. I am asking you, requesting if you can wait until after that presentation to decide on this matter. Thank you.
Miss, thank you for your comments, Ms. Milner. But we're here for this application and the presentation this evening is after. Unfortunately, we're here to deal with this application now. Councillor McDonnell, you moved to approve as accepted. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can I get a seconder?
Can I,
Second by,
yeah,
sorry.
I'm willing to second it. And I take Mrs. Milner's comments, but the whole house is within the 30 meters. I don't think it's realistic that we turn these things down, or we're not going to ask them to tear down their house and move. You know, there has to be some common sense used with what's existing. So I'm going to second it.
Okay. All right. Moved by Sam McDonnell and seconded by Councillor Lang. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. And moving on to item 6, which is, I believe, adjournment. Ms. Haley, do you know when the next meeting is?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the next meeting would be at our December 6th regular scheduled meeting. I have no application filed at this moment, but I have several applications that I'm anticipating to be filed. However, I'm hearing from applicants that they're waiting on surveyors. I think the surveyors are just so busy with all the development that's happening that it's holding back some applications. So
Yes.
I won't be able to confirm at this time if we will have any for the December 6th agenda.
Okay, but you'll circulate proper if yeah, okay, perfect. Last comment to you, Councillor McDonnell, then we will need to adjourn.
Yep, no, quickly, I guess if Miss Haley's willing to do the meeting off of our regular council meeting as well, just given that our schedule will fall, we won't have another opportunity to hold one of those. Maybe it'd be worth talking to the members of the committee to schedule something if we do get a few past the date.
Yeah, good point, Councillor McDonnell. There is 3 weeks between this meeting and our next. So if we can squeeze one in, if someone's waiting, please don't hesitate to contact.
Good, I'll contact you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Okay, moved by someone to adjourn. Councillor Lang, second by Councillor McDonnell. All those in favor? Meeting is adjourned at 6:54 p.m. We'll see you in 6 minutes for our regular council meeting. Thank